Garbage in, garbage out. You might have heard of the saying, maybe even experienced it. Today, we will look into how to avoid this. A very warm welcome, and thank you for joining. With me, I have my colleague, Thomas Hammer, who will share insights into how to maximize the potential of your data with the help of SAP Analytics Cloud, SAP Datasphere, and SAP HANA Cloud. But before diving into the topic, I would like to remind you that you have the opportunity to ask your questions, which will be answered at the end of the presentation. We therefore invite you to ask all your questions and share your insights in this chat. Now, let me share some slides, starting with, give me a second to share my slides, starting with the overview of the entire series, in case you have not seen the entire series yet, or are not aware that this is a series. So the series consists of a total of 6 sessions, episodes, starting with how to maximize your business potential with SAP BTP. I can really advise you to look at it. It provides a completely different overview of what usually we show with regards to SAP BTP. Another must-see is, of course, an update on the SAP BTP AI vision and strategy, followed by how to optimize app development and automation, providing the latest updates and news in this area. Of course, the SAP integration suite is always a must look. Udo Palzer, as usual, provides an excellent overview of the integration suite. Today we have Demystifying SAP's data and analytics solutions, followed by next week the session Common Concepts and Strategic Direction, which is basically really a roundup of SAP BTP, sharing insights into the entire services that are offered on the BTP, and of course, licensing topics, etc., etc. So really worthwhile to look into that as well. Now, let me quickly share an update of upcoming events following today. So we have one, how to streamline collaboration and deliver efficiencies. One session on SAP Build Code, Ask Me Anything. We have 3 excellent presenters that will share an update on SAP Build Code. Then we will have a session featuring the customer Sapka Polska. Thomas, I hope I pronounced it correctly. They will share how they unlock the value with the help of SAP HANA Cloud. The same session we will have again on April 10th. This one is featuring Lexmark. Then we have a session on how to improve your business outcomes with SAP HANA Cloud Vector Engine. And on April 10, what's new in SAP Datasphere in 2024? Then there is an on-site event in Miami, in case you are in that area, a 2-day event with awesome topics there as well. And now, let me introduce our expert for today, Thomas Hammer. He is lead product manager and part of the SAP HANA product management organization and responsible for HANA Cloud. And with this, Thomas, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Tania, and thanks for that great opportunity to speak about our data and analytics solutions. Now, jumping directly into the content and sharing my screen. I mean, today I'm, as you can see, stepping a bit out of my personal comfort zone because my focus topic truly is SAP HANA Cloud. But as you can imagine, HANA Cloud is not coming on an island. Indeed, it's very connected to a lot of other products within the data and analytics offering of SAP HANA Cloud, and that's what we will take a look at today. Thanks, Tania, by the way, for promoting our upcoming events. I will also mention them briefly when we come closer to the end of the session. But I think we have a great webinar series coming up with a lot of customers sharing insights from their scenarios. So if you're interested in more details, the links will guide you to the registration pages. But as the focus today is on data and analytics, let's dive into the topic and see what it's basically about, what's motivating us to develop new and very valuable data and analytics solutions, and what they should ultimately provide to our customers to gain new insights from their data. And from our point of view, data is truly at the center and at the heart of the new upcoming intelligent enterprises. And as we want to support them as best as possible in sustainable decision making, it's clear from our point of view that we need to provide the best tools in the market for business data fabric, for intelligent data applications, and for extended planning. You will see in a second these terms reappearing when we dive deeper into the portfolio, but that's basically our ambition. And as organizations strive to gain much more insights from their very valuable and very sensitive business data, we also need to equip them with powerful tools that can basically accompany them on that precise vision. Our focus is clearly on the customers, but also the users of our solutions, giving them the possibility to set up the scenarios they have in mind based on their very individual data architectures. We will also in a second see that we realize that like landscapes aren't uniform. It's like we see very diverse environments out there with very different vendors and parties being involved. And there is a high need for us to integrate with different vendors, also outside of the SAP ecosystem, in order to make our customers successful when trying to respond to their data and analytics challenges. And last but not least, for sure, business AI is a big topic for SAP. There was already a great session on that as far as I was able to hear from Tania. But like AI starts from the data, and that's, as Tania was saying, garbage in, garbage out. That's kind of a very well-known term, but it is really true. I mean, in the end, the quality of your data is significantly influencing the result of your analytics that you're doing on top, and therefore it needs to be best in class, and also all the processing steps need to ensure data quality, integration, and basically also consistency to come to the best possible results. With the emerge of AI, we also see that customers gain more confidence in data and in processes, but only if they can trust in the database platform. So while giving a rich tool set, which can perform almost any sort of activities and gives you the full set of capabilities to respond to your questions, it's very important that our customers and users can trust in a very ethical use of the data and in the confidentiality of the data, that we basically handle it in a proper way. And that's what we're guaranteeing with our product portfolio. That's what our customers value when looking at SAP's data and analytics solutions, because they already trust us with their most valuable information, which is stored in our SAP core ERP solutions. And so they also trust in the capabilities we're offering for data and analytics. And that's definitely something we have to always bear in mind, developing new great capabilities, and especially also as we adopt new technologies like AI or generative AI. So I was saying we really recognize that like data landscapes as of now at our customers with our users are distributed landscapes, and that brings great opportunities but also challenges. So the picture on the right is kind of trying to illustrate that a little, where we see a lot of different use cases, systems being connected, basically delivering business insights via applications with like the data context being created in between the systems. And in many cases, these systems aren't just provided by a single vendor. Partially systems are running on premises, partially systems are running in the cloud. And therefore, there is a need for data integration, cross clouds, inter-cloud, but also in between vendors. And that truly is a challenge. But when we master these challenges as good as possible, we can also provide significant opportunities to our customers. In a few minutes, I will explain how we are approaching that challenge, because from my point of view, we have a great answer to such challenge. But still, we also need to see that this is a moving environment, and therefore also requirements will change, new technologies will emerge, and therefore also new integration capabilities need to come up so that we can basically continue with the support of these ever-changing environments. When we look at the BTP portfolio, and as this entire series was basically structured around the SAP BTP product offering and our key values, it might be also very important and interesting for you to see that the data and analytics solutions are one of the key pillars of the BTP. As I said, like the entire intelligent and sustainable enterprise is founded on the business technology and ultimately founded on data. Also, all our business AI use cases, which are now basically being brought to the market on top of our applications, on top of the great business semantics we have within the individual applications. All these scenarios are founded on data. And therefore, it is clear that we need to have a very solid database platform. We need to have a solid business data warehouse, and also an equally solid planning application, as well as a tool for enterprise analytics. That was a little bit of a teaser, but basically when we now take a deep dive into the product portfolio, this is exactly what we address with our data and analytics product offering. So as I mentioned, on the one hand, starting from like the bottom of the stack, more or less, we want to provide a database solution, a scalable cloud-native database solution, which is as flexible as possible, so you can create your intelligent data applications on top, which are making use of machine learning, which are making use of new capabilities, which expose data for generative AI, and that is SAP HANA Cloud in the product stack. Next, we have our business data fabric, which is, from our point of view, an architecture, an approach, a solution to when you want to semantically integrate data with business context from various sources, including SAP and non-SAP sources, giving you the possibility to run, for instance, self-service modeling on top. And that is basically SAP Datasphere. And last but not least, here in the picture, you see an area or a section for extended planning and analytics. And that is basically the use cases we see that are being addressed with SAP Analytics Cloud, giving end users the possibility to analyze, to understand, and to steer activities based on data in a very user-friendly environment, but also providing a powerful tool for extended planning, running financial forecasting and budgeting, for instance, based on the business models and the data models existing. To some extent, that was basically explaining these individual pillars already here on the slide, but I just wanted to reiterate on it, because traditionally, the products, SAP Analytics Cloud on the left, Datasphere in the middle, and SAP HANA Cloud on the right, were more associated with like the capabilities and the functions that we, let's say, try to address. Now, on the earlier slide, we were talking about the use cases. Both is valid and both show kind of the different perspectives. But here, what you see basically is now a more a linkage to the actual functional product offering. So SAP Analytics Cloud for planning and analytics, SAP Datasphere for data management and data warehousing, and SAP HANA Cloud as an operational database for your individual applications running within the SAP BTP. Earlier, I was saying we're not on an island. We as SAP, if we want to respond to our data management and data and analytics questions and challenges of our customers in a proper way, and we really truly holistically want to cover their requests, we can't just solve that on our own. And we are intensively working with the cloud service providers, as you've seen also on one of the first slides, basically providing all of our solutions on various cloud service providers. We have that 4 main cloud service providers with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and Alibaba Cloud. That's our general strategy, but we specifically enrich our data ecosystem with a collaboration with other vendors in the market. We will see more details on that once we talk about SAP Datasphere, the open data ecosystem. But here on the slide, you can see the partners already illustrated with Databricks, Colibra, Confluent, DataRobot, and Google Cloud. Now, making one step further into the product offerings of SAP Data and Analytics and taking a look at the individual capabilities, you may know these kind of charts where we try to outline the specific features also with some sort of a relationship. And that will also become clearer once we talk about more details here. So you can see SAP HANA Cloud illustrated on the bottom level. If you remember the earlier slide, it is our solution for operational database use cases. It comes as a fully cloud managed database as a service solution, and it gives additional capabilities apart from what we associate with operational database. And that is for integrating data science and machine learning, for making use of the multimodal data processing capabilities for various types of data. And it is not just a database with a single storage option. Indeed, it comes with different storage tiers that gives you the possibilities to optimize also your total cost of ownership based on the usage of different storage tiers. New is our HANA Cloud Vector Engine that supports the work and collaboration with large language models, but we will talk about that later on as well in more detail. On the second layer, we see SAP Datasphere. The reason why we have it on a second layer is SAP Datasphere is consuming the powerful capabilities of SAP HANA Cloud as an underlying database system, and it is adding value on top. And that value on top is represented by the capabilities for data acquisition, data integration, but also data modeling in so-called spaces. It adds possibilities to semantically onboard existing data semantics and enrich it with new models, with new capabilities, and with custom analytical structures. And it gives the possibility to share such data products that you have basically generated with an SAP Datasphere within your company, with a marketplace. So you can basically like orchestrate and monetize also to some extent data that has been generated by you. So that's truly a great functional offering, which is significantly going into self-service business data warehousing. The partners you can see here basically also reflected as specifically the partnerships have a big impact on SAP Datasphere when it comes to integrating data, but also when it comes to developing new capabilities jointly. And also that will be explained later in a bit more detail when we talk also about the recent announcements from SAP Data Unleashed. And last but not least, SAP Analytics Cloud, again, one level higher, where we have the capabilities for extended analytics, or in this case here, it's mentioned as augmented analytics. So giving the possibility to analyze data existing in your various SAP solutions, but also adding on top capabilities to explore the data in much more detail using machine learning capabilities, for instance, using predictive capabilities. So you can enrich what is already existing there for your analytical purposes. And we also provide the integration into other applications like our traditional SAP business applications for finance or SAP Datasphere for enterprise planning later on. Here as well, you can see some innovations being teased because we just recently announced a few, like our vector engine that I already mentioned, but I will cover them in more detail in just a few minutes. So please bear with me, but we'll now just walk along and go into the various different product areas and into the solution specifically in a bit more detail. Starting off with my home turf, SAP HANA Cloud, our multi-model database management system, which is provided as a service to our customers. It is a managed application. That means basically we as SAP are operating the database platform for our customers. Customers can rely on the availability of the service. This is truly in our responsibility. So we're making sure that it is up and running with a very high SLA for the entire usage of the system. Customers can benefit from self-service capabilities like replication or high availability, which you can ensure and achieve with a click of a button, for instance. We give almost infinite storage capabilities with the various different storage tiers in HANA Cloud. So from in-memory to disk to big data lake architectures, there's a large variety of how you can store data in HANA Cloud. And that is what we basically deliver with the product. Our intention and mission is to support all various types of data. And in order to do that, we're not just providing a relational database engine. Instead, we're also providing, for instance, specialized data storage and processing engines, like our geospatial engine, that gives specialized possibilities for you to handle these data types within one singular data platform. Our goal is to support all various workloads on top of HANA Cloud. That means on the one hand side, very memory intensive workloads that we typically see benefiting greatly from the in-memory architecture of SAP HANA Cloud, but also very compute intensive workloads that we see, for instance, with like more transactional applications or planning use cases running on top of HANA Cloud. So thanks to the flexible configuration possibilities we have, from our point of view, we're really delivering a very flexible database platform that gives you the possibility to process all the data that is required for your analytics, but also your transactional scenarios. And last but not least, I was saying we're not on an island. For sure, we also need to provide connectivity to various different data sources, and that has been ensured via the different integration capabilities we have in SAP HANA Cloud. I was talking about the specialized data processing engines that are next to our relational store in SAP HANA Cloud. Here, there are a few illustrated, which basically make up the so-called multi-model data processing capabilities of SAP HANA Cloud. So I've talked about geospatial, or here it's mentioned as spatial because it's not just storing geographical data, but any spatial data. We also have capabilities in the database to store and process graphs and thereby track relationships or basically reflect relationships in data. But we also have features next to that for instance, enterprise search, a very common use case when you're dealing with an operational database system. For sure, you want to understand or retrieve and find data. And that is definitely greatly benefiting from search capabilities. Additionally completed with features in the area of machine learning. So as I was saying, for us, it is not just the intention to provide a database system. Instead, we want to give our end users, with the mission of our data and analytics portfolio, the possibility to derive new insights from their data. And this specifically is where our machine learning tools and applications come into the picture, as well as our brand new vector engine, which has a large impact on generative AI use cases, because here we can now store so-called vector embeddings that help us to retrieve significantly important input for so-called generative AI queries and prompts. All of that comes as one big package in SAP HANA Cloud. I was saying it's our multimodal data processing features, and these features are part of HANA Cloud out of the box. So they aren't like representing individual processes or individual instances and services in HANA Cloud. Instead, this is really part of the core of HANA Cloud, which brings the great benefit that you can make use of everything basically with the one instance of HANA Cloud with no data movement. And thereby we can also trust and ensure, or you can trust and we can ensure that we are really taking the topic of sensitivity of data serious. And we provide a reliable platform for all the analytics on top. And that reliable platform, as I was explaining, is then also being used by other SAP data and analytics solutions like SAP HANA, like SAP Analytics Cloud or SAP Datasphere. As I was quickly covering the topic of our vector engine, and as this is one of the very new topics coming up soon, I just want to give a super quick introduction on that topic, because I think it's very relevant right now for a lot of customers that are interested in really materializing generative AI, but still with a business context and still with context from SAP solutions that you typically don't have when you work with a large language model out of the box. And that's where our engine is coming in. So the vector engine itself gives you the possibility to infuse additional context, as I was saying. The way we do that is via a very efficient search on top of data, and that is the so-called similarity search. You can see basically also illustrated here in the picture. And that similarity search helps us to semantically and efficiently search on larger data sets and gives you the possibility to filter and to recognize specific queries and specific data sets that you want to hand over to a large language model. With the use of such a concept, in this case, it's a concept of so-called retrieval augmented generation. You can add additional context to the large language model, and it gives you the benefits to, let's say, influence the results of the large language model, but also infuse your very individual information from your scenario. Without going into too much details, I only want to give a quick teaser to one of the events that Tania was also mentioning in the beginning, which is basically our go live event for the SAP HANA Cloud Vector Engine. It is not yet available in the product, but it will become available with our Q1 release of SAP HANA Cloud. Sorry, we're not yet jumping to the questions, but in just a few seconds, we will continue with the presentation. I'm doing the same mistake again. All right, there we go. So again, the webinar is definitely a great chance for you to learn more about the vector engine. If you are curious to learn more about generative AI in SAP HANA Cloud, then we will definitely give a great possibility here for you to learn more. But now jumping from HANA Cloud to SAP Datasphere. SAP Datasphere is basically, as I explained, our solution, our answer to the challenges or to our customers' desire to build so-called business data fabric architectures. So integrating different data sources on a semantical level, and also maintaining the context and infusing the context into analytical models, or later on also into, for instance, planning applications or reporting and analytics use cases. And that is what we provide with SAP Datasphere. It is a scalable platform using all the great capabilities of the BTP, including SAP HANA Cloud and the underlying powerful features, to really holistically cover the topic of data management and data warehousing. Now, here on the slide, it was already mentioning data ingestion. So if we read basically the graphic in the middle from the bottom to the top, then you can see that we start from really the basics of how can I integrate and ingest data from different sources. That implies different technologies, data replication federation, but also real-time data integration, and especially also the semantic data integration, which is not just like considering the pure data layer, but instead is making use of, for instance, the semantical layers on top that have been generated by SAP applications, because that's truly the value our SAP core business applications are developing. And you want to make use of that rich value also in your analytical and your planning scenarios. Followed by data governance, so all about data lineage, understanding where data is coming from, how it's being used, how it's being promoted via a catalog, for instance, ensuring, again, data privacy, and making sure that data quality is accurate. That's all been part of the so-called block of data governance with SAP Datasphere, followed by various possibilities for processing of the data. So you can make use of it in the form you like, and that includes like different transformations or transformation flows or data flows in SAP Datasphere in order to make it really tailored for your specific use case. That transformation is for sure being orchestrated by an orchestration framework. So you can rerun such processes in a scheduled manner. You can also run them basically ad hoc in order to have like proper sort of pipelining in a sense within the application. Additionally, as said, and coming back to my phrase from earlier, we're not on an island. Therefore, we also need to give customers the possibility to integrate data, but not just from like a technical layer, which we're like solving with the data integration or ingestion capabilities. Instead, we also want to give them a very convenient interface to consume pre-tailored data sets, which are maybe coming from other users of Datasphere or from partners that are collaborating with us. And here, the data discovery and data marketplace, tools of Datasphere are coming into the picture, giving you the possibility to consume data from other vendors in the most easiest manner in SAP Datasphere. And that all in all is basically then bundled into a self-service tooling so that also business users have the capabilities to interact with a rich amount of data coming from various sources, being basically prepared in the most meaningful sense. So you can run then like additional or use cases on top, apart from the data warehousing use case, as Datasphere is fueling ultimately also into SAP Analytics Cloud with extended planning and analysis as a potential backbone for intelligent data applications in HANA Cloud. So imagine for data also flowing back into applications as you want to make use of all these semantical structures that you've just generated, or eventually even, you want to make use of this data in artificial intelligence use cases. Just one last area that I want to stress before we go on with SAP Analytics Cloud with a bit of a deep dive here is the fact that SAP Datasphere for sure is also recognizing the on-premises environments, as all applications do. So for instance, also SAP HANA comes with the support for a so-called hybrid setup, where we, based on a concept, give our end users the possibility to work in coexistence of an on-premise environment. And that is also supported by SAP Datasphere. Here on the slide, you can see in detail various means of how you can set such hybrid models up. We will not go into the details right now, but just ensuring you that while we provide new cloud native technologies, we're not leaving our customers behind. Instead, we're really giving them the possibilities, on the one hand side, to seamlessly migrate if they are willing to do so. But some do also have very good reasons to stay on premises with some of their workloads. And therefore, we're also offering so-called hybrid tooling or hybrid scenarios on top of SAP Datasphere and SAP HANA Cloud. So that's, I think, an important detail to mention, and it just should give you assurance that like a migration to such cloud applications like SAP Datasphere, SAP HANA Cloud, or SAP Analytics Cloud can be also a gradual approach with a coexistence in between. Moving on to our last solution within the data and analytics stack, SAP Analytics Cloud, which is our answer to providing a data analytics environment and solution in the cloud, supporting advanced analytics, but also extended planning for the intelligent and sustainable enterprise. And you will see when we dive into the features that SAP Analytics Cloud gives a broad set of capabilities. It offers rich integration into the both tools that I was already mentioning. So SAP Analytics Cloud can integrate into SAP HANA Cloud and run, for instance, analytical workloads on top of calculation views. But it also integrates very nicely into SAP Datasphere, giving the possibility to utilize the semantics and the business model and the analytical models that you have created in SAP Datasphere, also in the so-called SAP Analytics data acquisition framework. Now, what SAP Analytics is all designed for, it's basically designed for two scenario cases or two use case groups. One is analytics and business intelligence, and the second is enterprise planning. When we look at, first of all, analytics and business intelligence or BI, we see various capabilities that try to help you really derive insights from your data, from the status as it is now, but also from predictions. So that's the part of advanced analytics that we're basically introducing. And it starts from modeling and preparing and understanding your data, as you also have the possibility to acquire data right in SAP Analytics Cloud. But as I said, you also have the possibility to connect to existing data sources. We give end users the possibility to understand their data, first of all, to prepare it accordingly, to create dimensions and measures, to define them, and then basically to wrangle the data so it can be efficiently used in SAP Analytics Cloud. From that, users start to explore the insights within their data, and that is possible via rich analytical capabilities in HANA, in SAP Analytics Cloud. I'm sorry for that. With like very interactive visualizations, with very different possibilities for you to design stories, to slice and dice your data, and then basically walk through the insights that you can derive from the data based on meaningful representation and based on already analytics running on top. And last but not least, we're augmenting that with like capabilities for smart predictions, and also now with additional capabilities that I'll talk about in a few more moments, looking at the entire functional area of generative AI or AI in general, helping you to understand your data, but also to come up with very new analysis on top. If we focus on the second use case, which is enterprise planning, we see that here it's more from understanding the current data to analyzing and predicting the future, because we want to understand the impact of our decisions on our future operations and on our future business. And this is especially important when we look at our corporate financials, so we can understand what's the performance of the company based on the decisions we make and based on the plans we design. And in SAP Analytics Cloud, you have various features available for predictive planning that help you to truly model these forecasts accordingly and see also the impact of different changes to some decisions you're making in a collaborative manner, basically with having the possibility to also share the analysis, the data models with other users within the company that for sure will have a very different point of view on one or the other question. So collaboration is really also at the center of SAP Analytics Cloud. It is not just like a single user tool. Instead, it is truly designed to be like an interactive experience for our customers when working with the data and when trying to analyze and predict data and results for the future. Last but not least, we're providing means to plan end-to-end scenarios that is especially important, as I was saying, when you're trying to derive the impact of certain decisions and of certain parameter changes to your business. And that is something which we're now also supporting with more convenience with a new innovation coming up in SAP Analytics Cloud. So I was talking about innovations in the various different products. I was always trying to be a bit brief when I was mentioning the topics for the first time, because I had prepared a quick recap on also SAP Data Unleashed. If you haven't heard about SAP Data Unleashed before, it is our data moment where we basically introduce new capabilities for the all the solutions in SAP Data and Analytics. It was happening just recently, and I have a link with me which you can also make use of in order to replay the entire moment, and also to learn more about the innovations, hear from our customers, hear from partners and users of the individual tools. But we also have comprehensive materials like blog posts that you can make use of in order to understand what was announced and what is being delivered to the products. But let me give you a very rough introduction on the features, and we will again go one by one. This time we're starting with planning and analytics, which definitely, as you may know now, is linking to SAP Analytics Cloud. Now, as I was saying, SAP Analytics Cloud is capable of acquiring data, or gives you the possibility to acquire data natively. That means you can load data into SAP Analytics Cloud, and based on that, you can analyze the data, but you can also run advanced planning on top. Now, this isn't always very convenient, because that also requires a lot of tuning when, for instance, data sources are structured differently. It also needs connectivity to the individual systems. And to some extent, you may have mastered these integration challenges already earlier with tools which are equipped significantly better for such purpose. And one of those tools is, for instance, SAP Datasphere, which offers best-in-class integration to SAP business sources, but also to non-SAP sources, giving you the possibility to semantically onboard models and promote these models then to tools like SAP Analytics Cloud. So that integration is there. And now with the SAP Data Unleashed event, we have announced the so-called seamless planning integration between SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Datasphere, which is reducing the needs for manual data movement between the two tools, to giving you really the possibility to plan in SAC on data which is residing on SAP Datasphere. So that is a very important topic from our perspective. It shows that we're putting a lot of effort into end-to-end integration between the tools, and we really want to foster also the ecosystem that we've created with our solutions. Next, in the middle, you can see the integration of generative AI into SAP Analytics Cloud with our Copilot Joule. So Joule will give our end users the possibility to design new stories, to help designing new stories, but it also will help understanding some of the data better. That comes thanks to the integration with our Just Ask features in SAP Analytics Cloud. And it is really your companion when working with SAP Analytics Cloud, guiding you through recommendations for specific sort of questions of how to also come up with analytics for a dedicated question, and thereby really reduces the hurdle that some users may feel when getting started with a tool. And last but not least, we have also announced the so-called SAP Analytics Companion. If you remember, I was a few minutes ago, I was talking about extended planning and the capabilities to simulate scenarios. And here really we have a great tool at hand that helps you analyze the impact and simulate the impact of certain key drivers onto your very specific business scenario and ultimately onto your organization's profitability, for instance. So that's a new tool, and these are all new capabilities that will become available in SAP Analytics Cloud and reflect that we want to equip you with the best-in-class features so you can derive new insights from your data. When we look at the business data fabric, and in this case, Datasphere, we see that there's two major topics that were stressed during the Data Unleashed event. One is the open data ecosystem, and one is the SAP Datasphere knowledge graph. We look at the Datasphere open data ecosystem, then these partners might look very familiar to you. And I've already shared earlier that they are at the core of our open data ecosystem in SAP Datasphere. But we are intensifying the partnerships that are existing with those partners. And for instance, when we look at Colibra, we have shared that we're working on additional governance for the entire AI topic. So basically providing transparency into the use of AI for business data or in the context of your business data, as we want to ensure that our customers truly can trust the process, the usage of the data, and can understand where data is flowing in and out for analytical purposes or for the use with AI. And second, the Datasphere knowledge graph. The Datasphere knowledge graph basically is a capability which comes now with a preview in SAP Datasphere, giving users the possibility to automatically create so-called knowledge graphs when they are modeling and onboarding data. Knowledge graphs help to express relationships between entities in a very structured and detailed way. And via such knowledge graphs, you can, for instance, analyze data more efficiently, especially when we make use of AI features. So when we have an intelligent system connected to a knowledge graph, we can easier understand the structures and the relationships of data entities to each other. And that is truly a great topic coming up. And I think we can see in future many exciting things associated with the knowledge graph. Last but not least, covering the innovations that we have introduced with SAP HANA Cloud. I just want to mention once again our vector engine. I think I've shared a bit of insight about that, but this is one of the topics we're eagerly looking forward to becoming available to our customers. As said, it will become available until end of this month, so you can definitely look forward to that. And we will demystify the topic then in more detail in our upcoming SAP HANA Cloud webinar. So make sure to subscribe for that. And the link is in the slides that Tania just shared in the beginning. And additionally, we've also shared that we're working on increasing our in-memory capacity for SAP HANA Cloud even further. As of today, we can already store up to 6 terabytes in memory. But we see growing demand for in-memory capacity apart from all the other dimensions we have for scalability in HANA Cloud. So we have decided to extend the capabilities up to 24 terabytes by the end of 2024. So that's a great statement from my point of view, a significant growth in terms of the capabilities we offer for HANA Cloud for storing data in memory. But for sure, this is not the limits. Thanks to for instance, our data lake that we have available in HANA Cloud, giving you the possibility to store even more data. As said, if you want to recap on the Data Unleashed event, you can find the link to the replay here just by scanning the QR code. It's still available and it gives you great possibilities to once again hear about these features by Jürgen Müller, our CTO, or by Julia White, our head of solution marketing, and also by our customers that truly give great testimonials about what they do with SAP data and analytics solutions and why they trust and bet on these tools. Last but not least, if you want to take a next step after this call today, for sure, make sure to listen to all of the great webinars upcoming, but I know time is always limited. So if you have a spare minute and you want to, let's say, experience some of the tools yourself, then you can definitely make sure of the guided experience for data and analytics. That's basically the first QR code at the bottom left of the screen. We also have great content in Discovery Center. And all of that should give you a perfect overview. But as you can see, there are many more resources like sap.com/analytics, which is really covering all of the solution areas, as well as the possibility to sign up for a newsletter. If you are, for instance, already making use today of one of the features and you just want to stay up to date and on track with all those innovations and the speed of delivery in our SAP data and analytics solutions. And I believe with that, we're actually coming to the end of my session, and we should have a bit of time remaining for Q&A if there are open questions. This time it's right. This time we should see the questions screen. Earlier times it was a bit confusing. Sorry for that.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Not a problem at all. Thank you for your excellent presentation. I enjoyed it myself. I learned myself a lot, and I deal with BTP daily. So it was
That sounds
awesome.
Perfect.
We have some questions, actually. Let me come up to
Great.
them. So the first one is, yeah, I think basically they're both, no, yeah. You remember you mentioned the hybrid solutions that the Datasphere is, you can take advantage of Datasphere on-premise and in the cloud. And the question here is whether the vector engine will come only in HANA Cloud or on-premise as well, to get an upgrade on-premise.
Yeah, very good question. So the vector engine solely comes with SAP HANA Cloud, as the vector engine requires also the integration into the so-called generative AI hub of BTP. I think that was also maybe a topic of one of the earlier sessions. But we clearly see that the AI topic and the Gen AI topic significantly benefits from the cloud environments, from the scalability of the cloud, but also from the integration that is needed into, for instance, other vendors that offer like large language models. And this integration is ensured by our so-called SAP Generative AI Hub. And therefore, we've taken the conscious decision to only provide the SAP HANA Cloud Vector Engine in SAP HANA Cloud, as the name is saying, and not in SAP HANA on-premises. But you can, as Tania was saying and reiterating, kind of, you can make use of it in a hybrid combination. So if you are a user of SAP HANA on-premises and want to leverage such new technology, which we only deliver in SAP HANA Cloud, then you can use of the so-called replication tooling or the virtual integration means of SAP HANA Cloud. Infuse data which you have stored on premises into the cloud and set up these new use cases on top of SAP BTP, leveraging then SAP HANA Cloud. So that's our recommendation, and we think that is very meaningful, given also how large language models are offered today.
Awesome, very interesting, and I think it's a great offer. We then have, are the Gen AI features going to be added into Datasphere directly that is not created in CAP or HANA Cloud?
So that depends a little bit. So right now, let's say a lot of things are being formed. I was teasing, or I was reiterating on the announcement of Joule becoming part of SAP Analytics Cloud. That is that sounds, first of all, like a sole announcement only for SAP Analytics Cloud, but for sure, Joule will become a part of all of the tools in different ways, because this is truly our intelligent assistant. So if we consider Joule as a Gen AI tool, then I can say like this will become part. But you were mentioning also CAP and the way we expose the features, for instance, in Datasphere. That depends always a bit on which feature we're precisely talking about. For the knowledge graph in Datasphere, that is first of all being like a pure Datasphere feature, but it will later on show its effect on various different tools, like also AI mechanisms in Datasphere directly. The vector engine, for instance, comes as a foundational service in HANA Cloud only, as like in the beginning. but also SAP Analytics Cloud with like the Joule service will make use of the vector engine, same as with like the Just Ask service. So you can see like these services are always somewhat connected and interconnected, but they will sometimes only surface to the end user via functionalities or as individual services. And like the vector engine in HANA Cloud is then basically the foundational service that you can also make use of. It will be propagated then also via app that was mentioned. So we're working on a CAP integration for the vector engine to make it also accessible as like an appropriate type to the modelers and the developers.
Thank you so much. Then we have the next question. Do we have a planned, or I guess it's a precise date or month when HANA Cloud is getting a vector engine?
So the vector engine release is planned until end of this month. So by the latest day of the month, it should be available. That's what I can promise so far. And we're doing our best to let's say, stay with that plan, but I'm very confident as of now. That's the planning date we have. And I said on beginning of April, we have a webinar, and by tuning in, you should expect that it's live.
Cool. Thank you so much. We don't have any further questions in the chat, but I would like to ask one because Joule has gained a lot of attention. And you mentioned it also that it's a part of SAP Analytics Cloud of SAC. Will it only be available in SAC?
No. As I hopefully tried to illustrate, like SAP Analytics Cloud was the first one announcing now the integration of SAP Analytics Cloud into its offering. But for sure, our strategy is consistent. Joule will become part of the various solutions, including HANA Cloud, but with different capabilities. Now, when you look at HANA Cloud, for instance, you want to make use of it for instance, administrative tasks like operating your database system, infusing the way how data is stored, and these sort of tasks you want to handle via Joule. And that is a bit of a different feature set, like the SAP Analytics Cloud colleagues are providing now, where it's more about data exploration and creating stories. And therefore, we will have individual delivery dates. But in SAP Analytics Cloud, it's now coming as kind of the first iteration, and then the other tools will definitely follow. Yeah, that's our strategy.
Thank you so much. We have a follow-up question. By when will Joule be available in SAC?
That's a very fair statement. Sorry, a very fair question. And unfortunately, I need to say I don't have the date on top of my head, but I can promise that the date is published on the SAP Roadmap Explorer. So for all these kind of questions, I always recommend going to roadmaps.sap.com, because there you can always find the latest dates for any sort of announced topics, for planned topics and committed deliveries. That includes SAP HANA Cloud, SAP Datasphere, and SAP Analytics Cloud. And why don't you just take a look? And I'm sure you will, when you do it, you'll definitely find other topics that are of interest for you and other delivery dates that hopefully would show something very insightful for you.
Thank you. The next question is, does SAP charge for integrating with data robots, Colibra, with Datasphere, or if customer has a contract already with these vendors, can we just integrate?
Mm-hmm. So there are different integration strategies that always depends a bit on the vendor. There is, when we look at the data marketplace in SAP Datasphere, for instance, there is possibilities to consume data packages via contracts customers already have. But that depends very much on the vendor and on the precise integration. So for some, we do charge if like that's also the contract or the collaboration model which is existing in between the partners of SAP. Or we give the possibility to break in new contracts directly. If there is such a requirement precisely on one of the partners, you can also reach out directly to me and we can discuss the details then as a follow-up.
Great, thank you so much. I will shortly paste your email address in the chat, but we
Perfect.
have a another question. So what two actually are you planning to create an Gen AI business assistant to create, for example, a new planning apps in SAP?
To some extent, that is what Joule is offering. So the initial delivery of Joule is planned to give an assistant for story creation. Now, as of today, I cannot state if that will give full capabilities to create a story solely on based on the model and the semantics of the model. But I think to a large extent, it will support you with the creation of like additional new stories on top. So that is definitely our goal, making Joule the tech body, but also the business assistant, as you phrased it, for your various challenges, and that includes the integration into SAC.
Thank you. The next question is, okay, actually that was a follow in addition for the previous question. Actually, I'm sorry. It was, I don't know whether it's answered or not, because so that, with regards to new Gen AI created business assistant, so that a business analyst does not have to interact with the developer, but with the Gen AI creating an app for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say that depends always a bit on how well the model is being designed, which is kind of the foundation for the story. Still, my feeling is that collaboration and interaction will definitely lead to a better result. So it won't solely work like with only throwing some prompts on Joule. As also the data quality needs to be prepared with the models accordingly. But if there is a good business and analytical model being created as a foundation, I can imagine that we can significantly limit these exchanges between the ones providing the data models and the ones later on creating the stories. So that is for sure our goal. But as you can imagine, for sure we can bring in significant value also with our human understanding of context and of relevance for the business.
Thank you so much. And that was the last question, which is good because we are 1 minute over the hour. So let me please thank you again, Thomas, for all your time, for answering all the questions, and for your excellent presentation.
And also thanks from my end for giving me the chance to talk about our solutions, Tania.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure. Thank you. And last but not least, I would like to thank all our attendees for joining. For those who stayed until the very end, thank you so much for your time. I hope you got a lot of value from the session, and looking forward to seeing you in one of our next sessions as well.
Thank you all.